Fall for Me TV. This fall on Me TV, Remington Steele.
It's definitely an emergency.
Oh yeah, also Emergency.
Please stay with me.
And more familiar faces.
You act like I've never been on television before.
Me TV continues to deliver the shows you remember.
I remember.
And you may discover shows you've never seen before.
Is that a threat?
Fall for Me TV. For a complete schedule, go to MeTVNetwork.com.
Hi, I'm John Malos, and welcome to Connect with Me, live on Comcast in 43.6. And what a day to have Jerry Duncan, the former city councilman here in Fresno, on our show today. Hey, the day after the vote, but we're mainly going to talk about his trip around the United States on a motorcycle. He went around the horn, my friends. Your phone calls are encouraged, 559-265-4331. I was just telling Jerry Duncan, I didn't plan it this way. He was been a guest here, planning to come in and be a guest here for many weeks, actually many days now. We had him booked on the show today, but what a day to have him, because it's the day after the vote about privatizing garbage, that big meeting that took place last night, of course, at City Hall. It was absolutely overflowing with people there at City Hall last night at 5 o'clock. It ended late. It went 4-3 in favor of privatizing. That's the initial vote. They're going to meet again on December the 13th. So it's not over until it's over. There's a long way to go, but if it passes through and goes through all the stages on March 13th or the 4th, I believe, of 2013, the privatizing of service will in fact begin in front of your home. Anyway, we're going to talk to Jerry Duncan about something else. How would you like to, or do you have the courage to ride around the United States on a motorcycle? That's exactly what Jerry Duncan did. He rode around all around the United States, around the horn. Let's take you to the map and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Now, the former Fresno City Councilman jumped on his cycle here in Fresno, took off for Never Never Land, drove south along the Mexican border, through Arizona, Texas, Louisiana, Florida, then up the eastern seaboard, New Jersey, New York, Maine, Massachusetts, and the Canadian border, back down the coast again. Look at that. How many miles? Well, we're going to ask him. It's all outlined in pink right there. Hey, you want to see the bike that he used? We'll show you right there. It's a Gold Wing Honda. And there it is. He took that all the way around the country. Amazing. It was a long, long trip, to say the least. Want to see some video? We'll just show the video for just a few seconds here. This is East Point, Maine. It's the furthest point east that you can go in the United States. He's driving through one of the small towns right there. Live in our studio right now is Jerry Duncan, the former Fresno City Councilman. He is here to talk about the trip that he took recently, the people he met, the differences in culture from one state to the next. Hey, you're on the West Coast one day, hey, the following week you're in the South, totally different mindset, different culture. Then you're on the East Coast, and it changes all over again. We'll talk to him about his trip. We'll also talk to him about that vote at City Council, 4-3 last night in favor of privatizing garbage in front of your home. The phone number here is 265-4331. Jerry Duncan, he was a council member for 8 years. He's here in our studio today. Back in a moment.
Ventura TV Appliance Center. We're the save energy, save time, save money place.
Pretty good introduction.
The Energy Star qualified, ready, steam-equipped, high-efficiency Frigidaire affinity place. You heard right. Right now, save big on select Frigidaire laundry pairs and pay no interest when paid in full within 6 months. At the hometown low price, think outside the big box place. Since 1951, Ventura TV Appliance Center. We're working hard to be your place.
And like I said, what a day to have Jerry Duncan here on our show the day after the vote. The timing couldn't have been better. It wasn't planned this way. He's been booked for quite a few weeks. Jerry, it's good to see you. I haven't seen you in years. How you been?
I've been great, John. I've been great.
Yeah. Do you want to reminisce about the first time we met? It was in a fire truck. Remember that?
Fire station number 3, and
yeah.
we were both doing a ride along that night, and we had a lot of time to get to know each other, and really enjoyed that.
Gosh, that was 1997, 98?
99.
99. Okay. Now, you first became a council member when?
Actually, in 2001, January 2001.
And you went 2 terms, 8 years.
2 terms, 8 years, and I'm glad I'm done.
Was it time to get out?
It is. 8 years is plenty of time to serve, and I'm a firm believer in term limits. I think 8 years is enough, and it's time to go back to the private sector. We don't need career politicians in City Hall.
Right. Well, I want to talk about this. I want to move this over just slightly here. I want to talk about this trip that you took around the country. We're going to get to the vote last night. I'm going to ask you about that because you were kind of heavily involved in that when you were, I guess, in office. You were pushing for it, privatizing, that is. But I want to talk about your trip. What made you jump on a cycle and drive around the country?
Well, it's a good question. I've had a motorcycle for many years. This is my second Goldwing that I bought, which is the ultimate, Rolls Royce of motorcycles. And I've got the time now, and I just always try to think of doing something that most people wouldn't do. And the idea of going on a long trip on my motorcycle, of course, that's why I bought it. But then the idea of traveling the perimeter of the United States was kind of intriguing. And as I researched it, I could find nobody that's ever done it before the way I did it. And so that was all I needed. And
all right, I want to turn you to the monitor, and let's take a look at some videotape here. We're going to take a look at, around this way, Jerry.
Oh, I'm
We're going to turn, no, that's fine, that's fine. First time here, all right, you got to get used to the set here. Anyway, Fort Knox, Maine video. Explain what we're looking at. Where are you? What part of the country?
Well, I'm in Maine, central Maine, heading towards this beautiful bridge. Now, what I did is I installed a camera on my bike so I could take video along the trip. And the central northern Maine is just so beautiful.
Yeah.
And this was an opportunity. I saw this amazing bridge, and I thought, I'm going to take a picture crossing that bridge and give people an idea what it's like to be, on a motorcycle in northern Maine.
Very unique design.
Extremely unique.
Yeah. Have you ever seen a bridge like that? That's amazing.
No, and you can see, of course, the old ones to the left. But that was like the whole trip. I took all back roads. I only had about 100 miles on freeway. I purposely avoided freeways. I wanted to experience the country on the back roads and going through the small towns and getting to meet a lot of the small people. So that was a good representation of what it was like going on a motorcycle through northern Maine.
Yeah. We had a phone call, I guess. Well, hey, call back, 265-4331. I was just about to take a phone call here. And is it coming in again? Yeah, I want to take a phone call while we're looking at some video here.
Sure.
Good morning. You're on Connect with me with Jerry Duncan. How are you?
I'm okay. I just, I'm watching this. What is the assessment of how we're doing as a country at home?
What's the question again?
What is the assessment? That's a pretty good trip he did. How are we doing as a country?
What's the psyche of the country? How's everybody holding up mentally around the country from what you found?
There was a lot of evidence that got a lot of economic problems. There were problems with factories, but you know what? The people that I met, there's this American spirit is strong. It's very strong. People know we have obstacles, but there's a spirit of optimism that was universally across the country. Whether I was in Key West or northern Montana, it didn't matter. It didn't matter. People in this country are optimistic and determined to see it through.
Yeah. Now, are they optimistic in every part of the country that you visited?
I think so. I think so. Even some of the most depressed areas were along in northern Ohio, where you just drove mile after mile of deserted, empty, factories from the bygone days. But
is that the most depressed area that you saw in northern Ohio, or was there any place in the South that you saw that gave you further evidence that this country, there are a lot of depressed areas?
Well, honestly, when you drive through the South along the coast, that's all pretty affluent because that's all vacation land. So the north central part, from Buffalo through Cleveland, was probably the ugliest and most depressing part of the ride. But
economically speaking, or
yeah, economically speaking,
yeah, okay.
Absolutely. But the reality is that the people, when you stop and talk to people, whether I'm staying at night in a hotel or talking to people on the street when I meet them, they're still optimistic. America's a great country, and people will survive the hard times and work hard to look forward to the good times. And sir, the universal positive nature of this country was something I really enjoyed, and I actually took a lot of that away with me on from the trip.
As we turn to the monitor one more time, we're going to look at another piece of video here, Jerry, as you continue to talk in the mic there. Eastern Montana, and we talked about the depressed parts of the country. Why is it, now this is a very remote area of Montana, why is it that people have such a positive attitude when the economy is so bad and they're living in an area that is so depressed?
Well, I think because we're Americans, that we do that by nature. Americans always looking for the brighter day, the greener grass. Now, in this area in Montana, as you can see, there's not a whole lot going there. It's a big farm area, wheat fields.
You're near the, what, Canadian border here?
Yeah, just a few miles from the Canadian border on Highway 2 in northern Montana.
You're driving westbound?
Yep, westbound, and it was literally like that for 400 miles. And there'd be a small town every once in a while. But you would see miles of wheat fields. You would see people hardworking. It was pretty universal, and in Montana, it's just a special place. And
how far between gas stations or towns?
About every 60 miles there's a town. About every 60 miles, and I'd stop for gas about every 100, 150 miles.
Before we go to break, were you concerned about your safety at all?
Never. It's funny. Some people said, "Well, you're gonna, protect yourself." And I go, "No, I don't need to. This is America."
You weren't packing heat then.
No. Wherever I went, I never felt threatened. A lot of people would see me and come up and see my California plates and start talking to me, want to know what I'm doing. So we get into a conversation, but I never felt. This is not a dangerous country. I mean, obviously there are places where I probably shouldn't have gone and I didn't, but it's a great country, and I never felt threatened or in harm's way at all, ever.
All right, talking to Jerry Duncan, the former council member who went around the country in a motorcycle. He did that. We'll talk to him more and take more of your phone calls too. 265-4331. Call in, chime in, ask a question. Back in a moment.
I'm Lou Grant. Mary asked me to do a promo for Me TV.
You want to see me, Lou?
Not now, Ted. Watch me on...
Danish donuts?
I said not now, Ted. Watch me on Me TV.
You don't like me? I'll fire you.
Watch Mary Tyler Moore. I'll fire you.
Me TV Fresno, now on Comcast Channel 187.
Meow.
Yep, riding around the country on a motorcycle certainly takes a lot of time. How long did it take you, Jerry?
7 weeks.
Wow.
7 weeks on the road, and I rode not every day. I spent a couple days in southern Texas, South Padre Island. I wasn't on any time schedule. All I did was plan my route, and when I hit South Padre, I said, this is a nice place, so I stayed a couple days. And then in Key West, I had planned on spending 2 days there. I spent 5. And honestly thought about not coming back, just staying there, because it was a pretty neat place.
So it took you 7 weeks. When did you leave? When did you come back?
I left on Father's Day,
okay,
and I got back on July 30th.
Amazing. So you were under no pressure, no time constraints.
It was great.
You were pretty much your own guy,
yep,
your own time. Did you clock the mileage?
12,700 miles is the total mileage on the trip. Yeah, following that route.
Yeah, that's amazing. Did you also keep track how much money you spent?
No.
You didn't. You didn't keep receipts. Come on, Jerry.
Well,
you took great pictures and photos, though, and videotape was great. I'm just giving you a hard time, but I'm sure you weren't too concerned about that. I mean, you were concerned about what? What was your main concern about the trip? Did you? I mean, beforehand. I mean, just in your mind, it's mind-boggling. You're going to go all the way around the country. What were your 2 biggest concerns?
Well, the biggest concern I had was that I hadn't planned well enough for what I needed. That I would be somewhere and need some piece of gear or something and not have it. It turned out my planning worked. I actually had more than I needed. I probably could have traveled a little lighter.
It's okay.
And the other big concern I had was just making sure I stayed alert enough to avoid any potential problems or accidents, because motorcycle riding can be pretty dangerous if people don't pay attention to you.
All right, you're a jack of all trades here. You took video. Now we're going to take a look at some photos that you took. Corpus Christi, Texas. I'll have a hard time getting that out. There, no, up there. We're going to change you around here on the photos. There you go. Corpus Christi, Texas.
That is the greatest hotel in the world. When I arrived, it's right on the beach.
Right.
And I asked them if I could park my motorcycle someplace. They sent me to the front under this nice canopy that was like it was made for my motorcycle. And I found that almost everywhere I went, hotel owners, people were so accommodating to motorcycle tourists. That it was just wonderful. I had a great experience with that.
Let's change the photo here. I think we're going to take a look at Mississippi. Where is this, and where is it, and what are we looking at?
Well, this is one of my favorite places on the whole trip, and it's the southern Mississippi coast. Anybody ever has a chance to go there, it's probably the most beautiful place I've ever seen. And it's a series of small villages and towns. Here you see some shrimpers, and you can stop in any one of these towns. They've got buckets and buckets of just shrimp right out of the ocean. You can buy them.
Amazing.
I tell you, southern Mississippi is a very special place in this country.
Good morning. You're on Connect with Me. How are you?
Okay. Did Jerry do any camping? He talked about staying in Texas for a few days. Did he pitch a tent? What happened?
Well, that's a good question, and the answer to that is no. If I was 30 years old doing it, I probably would have camped, but...
you need a bed to sleep in, don't you?
After 8 to 10 hours a day on a motorcycle, I'll tell you, getting that nice, warm, soft bed was pretty nice, so I stayed in hotels the whole trip.
Oh, gosh, yeah, I don't blame you. Well, I put up another photo here. I think this is Naples, Florida, and you can describe it when the picture comes up. What are we looking at there?
This is one of the best restaurants in the United States, if you can believe it or not. One of my other goals was I didn't stop at any fast food or national chain. I was going to search out the local mom and pops. This place was just a dive, and it is a dive, but I went inside and it had one of the best meals I had on the whole trip.
Greasy spoon type place?
Yep, diners, drive-ins, and dives.
Check your cholesterol going out the door. Anyway, looks like a nice place, and I wouldn't mind eating there. I'll check that out if I ever get there. Good morning. You're on Connect with Me.
Good morning from Hanford.
Hey.
I was wondering if your guest met anybody on the trip that he plans on staying in touch with.
Ah, great question.
That's a good one. Yes, I did. When I was in Key West, I'm a cigar smoker, enjoy cigars, and I spent a lot of time at the Key West Cigar Club and met some amazing people there, and a couple have been good friends, and we're staying in touch, and I honestly can't wait to go back. It's a pretty special place. But yeah, that's great. Yeah, it's really fun about this country, especially when you travel by yourself. You're more open to talk and interact with local people.
Yeah.
And everywhere I went, people were so friendly, were so nice. And whether the southern part, they got the great accent, the northern part, you buy a lobster and it sits on your plate and you go, what do I do with it? And somebody will come up and process it for you. I mean, people were just amazing on this trip.
Hey, before we go to break, put up one more photo here. This is the southernmost point, I believe, of the United States in Florida. Is that right?
It's Key West, Florida. Actually, my plan was to go and park my motorcycle in front of that buoy and take a picture. But as you can see, the line was pretty long. And I actually went one morning at 6 o'clock in the morning, figured no one would be there, but there was a line. So,
where was the best food? Was it that little dive there that we saw the picture of, or what? What part of the country did you enjoy the food the most?
The South. Easily the South. The South.
Why?
Well, it's authentic. It's very authentic. It's very Southern. One place in Mississippi, I stopped for breakfast. I went in and asked a lady if I could, if they sold grits, and she goes, "Honey, that's all we sell." And it was just, I think it was the quality of food was amazing, but the quality of the people added to it.
Yeah. One more phone call before we go to break. Good morning. You're on with Jerry Duncan. What's your question? Hey, I guess they were too impatient there. Okay, are you still there, or did you hang up? I think they hung up. Anyway, we got to go to break, and we're going to come back and show more photos, more video from Jerry's trip around the country, and then we're going to save a little bit of time to talk about that vote last night. Back with more in a moment.
Fasten your bones and let's twizzle!
Weeknights, do the twizzle with me.
Everybody, starting doing the twizzle. Twizzle.
Weeknights starting at 9/8 Central on MeTV.
Ventura TV Appliance Center. We're the low-price leading brands reliable advice place. The Whirlpool Dream Kitchen Get Yours Today place. Check this out. Right now, get huge savings on select Whirlpool appliances and pay no interest when paid in full within 6 months. At the hometown low price, think outside the big box place. Since 1951, Ventura TV Appliance Center. We're working hard to be your place.
And we're back, and we're going to put up some photos real quick. Still photos, again, because I want to save some time to talk politics, too. Charleston Market. The video there, or no, actually the photo there, we're going to take a look at, and you can explain what we're looking at up there, Jerry.
Yep, that's a night picture I took of the entrance to the marketplace in Charleston, South Carolina.
Okay.
Again, one of the most amazing, beautiful, charming cities anywhere in the country. And in the middle of town, they've got this about 3-block long area where you can walk inside and all the local artisans sell crafts, they sell food. I mean, it's total atmosphere, and I had a ball there, and it's a beautiful area.
Change the photo. We're going to take a look at Long Island. You drove up the coast, went along the Jersey Shore, did you not?
Yeah.
Before Hurricane Sandy. Wasn't it beautiful?
A lot of the pictures that you see of the destruction, that road is the road I went up.
Oh,
and
my.
yeah, it was beautiful. These neat old stately homes.
But this is Long Island. That was Long Island.
Yeah.
What are we looking at here?
Well, that is the town as far north as you can go in the United States and still be in the United States. That's northern tip of Maine. If you look that city up, you'll see it's as far north as you can go.
That's amazing. So where did you find that the people were the most friendly? What part of the country?
Well, that's a good question, because I found great people everywhere, but probably the South. The South. It's just their culture is more open and more friendly.
You like their food and you like their people.
I love the South, yeah. The people and the food is amazing, and it's warm, it's beautiful. We're lucky. The South is a very special place. And, of course, Key West is a very special place. I thought the people there were great. You walk in, shake hands, you're instant friends.
In the East, people have a different mindset, do they not?
A little bit. They're busier.
A little more tense.
A little more tense. Although they have great lobster. I had lobster for 5 days.
All right, take another phone call here. Good morning. You're on with Jerry Duncan. How are you?
All right.
Good. Question, real quick.
Your guest passed through Savannah, Georgia. How did he like it if he did?
I'm sorry?
My hometown.
Say that again. Speak up a little. Say that again.
I was asking if your guest passed through Savannah, Georgia. That's my hometown.
Oh, yeah.
Did he like it?
I love Savannah. It's a lot like Charleston. It's got a lot of the old South atmosphere. People are great. Beautiful, beautiful harbor area. No, you got a great hometown, buddy.
Yeah. Thank you for the call. I appreciate it. We're short on time. I want to turn you around this way now, Jerry.
Okay.
See, I'm directing traffic here too, as well.
Doing
today.
a good job,
yeah,
John.
I'm trying to do everything here. We're going to take a look at a piece of video here, and I believe this is Baby Deer, New Hampshire, right?
Yeah, this was again, very typical of the roads I went on, and I'm driving up and I see this. I thought it was a dog at first, and I realized it's a baby deer running down the middle of the street. The poor thing was scared to death, so I just slowed down and kept my distance. And hopefully he was going to run off the road before a car got him. But
did he?
Yeah. You'll see here. He gets to a point and he just sort of stops and looks at me. I think he got a little too tired, and I got around him and he took off.
Yeah.
And but I was lucky that I didn't see a lot of animals. Driving on a motorcycle, you have to be really careful. If you hit a deer or a dog, you're done. So I was
cycle, yeah.
Always very careful. And I got to admit, I saw some very interesting roadkill. In Florida, I saw a 6-foot alligator and lots of porcupines, and you got to be careful. You don't want to run over a porcupine.
I know. We're going to take a look at one more piece of video here before we start talking politics, and you can explain what we're looking at here and what this video is. I believe this is Glacier National Park, is it not?
Yeah. Yeah, that's, again, about as far north as you can go in northern Montana. Glacier National Park is beautiful, and after 3 days and 1,000 miles of flat prairie, hitting the mountains sure was nice.
Did you ever get to a point where you said to yourself, gosh, I'm tired. I can't wait to get home. Why did I decide to do this? Where am I?
No, never.
Never? Really?
Never,
it was
never.
that exciting, huh?
It was amazing, yeah.
Did it live up to your expectations?
You know, it did. It really did. It was a bucket list trip for me, and it was 7 weeks, and every day was just an adventure, and every day was fun. It was just amazing.
Advice for someone who is looking to do the same?
Plan. I took 3 months of serious planning.
How so? What did you plan for?
Well, I planned for the gear that I needed and got it. You know, I had to prepare for all kinds of weather, from hot and humid to, you know, potentially cold and rainy, and I ran into all of that. Just prepare, and make sure you have a big credit limit on your credit card for your hotels, because but
you're still paying that bill off, huh?
No, you know, it's you can find good hotels. It don't cost a lot of money, but just plan. That's the best thing they can do.
You know what? If you go on a trip like this, you can't worry about money. You got to worry about just having fun and meeting people and enjoying yourself, because you only live once.
Well,
I mean, that's one of those trips.
I had some people that were interested in sponsoring my trip, but I turned all that down because I didn't want any pressure. I just wanted to have the opportunity to get on my bike, ride, see America the way I wanted to see it, experience it, you know, enjoy the small towns, enjoy the coast, enjoy the people, and it was amazing. It was a lifelong trip, and I'll never forget it.
Okay, we got to talk politics now. You were a council member 8 years. You know what happened last night? They decided that was the initial step. The vote of intent is what they call it.
Right.
Okay, they have another vote coming up on December the 13th. They voted to privatize last night in favor, 4-3. You agree with that?
Absolutely. Actually,
because why?
Well, when I was on the council, I wrote the white paper that started the whole thing, gave it to Mayor Autry. I know that the current mayor used that as a basis for moving forward. Well, it only makes sense. First of all, it saves money. The franchise fee is a way to get money to the general fund, which we desperately need now more than we did before. And my philosophy is real simple. The government doesn't have any money. It's all taxpayer money. And when the taxpayers pay it, the business community should have the first shot at providing a service over government. There's certain services the public sector can't provide, like police and fire protection, but almost everything else, there's companies that can do a fine job, but let them do it.
But here's the thing. Here's what the opponents are saying. They're saying that, number one, it's going to cost city jobs. Those people are going to lose their jobs. They'll be employed for 1 year. But more importantly, Sal Quintero was here just the other day. He says it says right in the contract, in 2 years, the ratepayers are going to be paying more. They're going to go up.
Well, rate increases have been a fact of life in our trash collection forever. That you can't avoid that.
But if you're talking about private industry, they can jack up the rates as much as they want.
Well, they can't. They can't. There's a market limit to that. And if they try to overdo it, they're going to lose the contract, and they can't afford to do that.
Do you see rates going up drastically?
No, not at all. Probably less than with
well, in the first 2 years it'll be less, 16 to 18% less, but then they say in the contract after that second year, boom, everything escalates.
John, in the state of California, it's very important to understand this.
Okay.
With 250 cities in the state of California, there's only 5 that do their own trash. Everyone else, including Santa Monica, Berkeley, Oakland, San Francisco, all hire outside contractors. So Fresno is very unique.
Is it working in those other cities?
Of course it is. It's working just fine.
Yeah.
The commercial solid waste, when it was privatized, that worked just fine. You haven't heard any complaints.
Jerry, would you come back?
Anytime.
Be a regular?
I'd love to.
I'd love to have you as a regular on here.
That'd be great.
Come in as a political analyst.
That'd
anyway.
be great.
And if you do another trip, hey, we'll have that too.
Well, I'll tell you, Key West is calling.
Okay, we're down to like 5 seconds here. Got to go. Have a great weekend, Jerry. Thanks for the photos and the video. Had a great trip. I appreciate having you here. On Monday, hey, we're going to have a special media guest on Monday. You probably haven't heard the name. A mystery guest. I'm not going to tell you the name. Got to wait till Monday. Have a great weekend. We'll see you then.